everyone, Davey here, Fit and Healthy Forever. Today we're going to do some back training. I haven't done a training video for a while. We've covered arms and we've covered shoulders, so now I want to cover back. So I'm going to try and give you the basics of what most gyms have got and the variations that you can do with them. So I'm going to start, always when you're doing compound movements, whether it be for chest or back or legs, do your big compounds first, because that's when you've got the most energy. So before you do a lat pull down for your back, make sure that you do a deadlift first, because that's going to take the most out of you. If you did them first, you would have nothing left to do the deadlift. So I'm going to show you how to do a full deadlift, then a rack deadlift, and then I'm going to show you how to do shrugs with a dumbbell and a barbell. So what we're going to start with is the full deadlift. Now, with the full deadlift, this works predominantly the upper legs, the glutes, hams and quads, and it's also, as you come up, I'll show you, it starts to use lower back. But you're using every muscle group in your body to stabilise, because you'll be using heavy weights with this relative to your own strength. So you're using your core a lot, you're using your shoulders, you're using your arms to a degree, and your back and your legs, everything. So we'll demonstrate that first. So what you're going to do, you're looking to get your legs sort of shoulder width apart roughly, your feet. Okay, now you want your hands to be just outside of your knees. So when you come down like that, you can either take an overhand grip like so, or you take an over and an underhand grip, which some people think is better because there's less chance of it slipping out your hand. So I'll do it with the under and over. When we start, the first rule of thumb, your lower back must maintain the curve in it. So you're in a curve, you're tucking your lower back in. Your spine is an S shape, so you must tuck that lower back in. As soon as you round that, you're in trouble, because the weight will pull you forward, you'll round your back and you will injure yourself very easily. So when we go down like this, we get the straps on. I'll talk about the straps in a minute. Just outside your shoulder width. When you start from there, you're predominantly, your hands are just hooks. So what you're doing is you're pushing your feet through the floor. That's what you're aiming to do in your mind. So when you first come up, the first sort of foot or so, that's using predominantly your upper legs and your glutes. And then as you straighten up, you use lower back. So from there, you're coming up, and then it's lower back to there. Don't hyperextend, just up to standing straight. And then you come down the opposite way that you come up. Don't just drop the bar, you control it all the way down like so, keeping it as close to your body as possible. You keep it close to your body because as soon as that bar moves away from your body, you're rounding your back. So you keep it coming up your body as close as you can. So again, imagine you're pushing your feet through the floor and you lift like so. So you're not pulling with your hands and arms, you're pushing through the floor and using your lower back to finish off the exercise. And then we're coming down the same way we came up, so the bar is always hugging your body all the way up, all the way down. So that's the full deadlift. Just a little bit about straps. Don't think for 1 second that using straps is an easy way out. When you're doing heavy compound movements for your back, especially, your hands and arms will give out first, because they can't hold as much weight as your back can use. So it's not an easy way out. It's to give you the chance as you progress with the weights to make sure that you can do the reps. Now I don't think personally deadlifts are made to do high reps. So I stay 6 to 8 reps, usually around the 6 mark. If I can do 6, I'll increase the weight. I don't go beyond 8 because I don't believe they're made for heavy weights. You go to any sort of powerlifting meeting and they do 1 rep max. I wouldn't suggest you do that. That's an ego thing. If you're training for to build muscle, build a bit of strength, you need to be working around the 6 to 8 rep range. So that covers the full deadlift. I'm going to show you now how we do a rack deadlift and what that's for. So next we move on to what's called a rack deadlift. Now this targets the lower back more than anything else. And what you're doing with this It's a similar movement to what I've just shown you, but you always lift this from about knee height, so that you're more or less taking out the glutes, hams and quads out of it. So again, you sort of shoulder width apart with your feet, just outside with your hands. I prefer to do these with an overhand grip on both hands. Again, first rule, tuck your lower back in. Make sure you tuck it in. So from there, we're lifting from knee height, and all lower back is doing is lifting it up and then down, and then up and then down, and then up and then down. Now what you're doing, if you could see this from the side, you should have from your top of your backside up to your head, it should be a complete slope. There should be no rounding, it should be a slope all the way up. So if I can sort of try and imagine when you come down, like so, if you tuck your lower back in, that way you've got a flat back, as they call it. A flat doesn't mean level, horizontal, it means flat, so that there's no lumps, bumps there. Then you're coming all the way up. Now that version of it, as I say, works just or predominantly your lower back. So if you just want to strengthen your lower back, that's an ideal exercise to do. Again, compound movements, do them first, always, because that's when you've got the most energy. You'll get the best bang for your buck that way. Now I'm going to move on to what's called dumbbell and barbell shrugs. Okay, so now we're going to do shrugs. I'm going to show you with the barbell and the dumbbell and show you the differences and what you need to look out for. These work the trapezius muscle there, the one that comes up there. Now that covers a whole big chunk of the upper back. It's a lot bigger muscle than you think. So when you're shrugging, you'll see in gyms, I've seen it umpteen times, people rolling the back, shoulders forward and back. So they've got the bar and they're rolling back, rolling forward. Never, ever, ever do that. You're putting your shoulder joint in such a precarious position, it's so easy to get injured. You don't need to do that. It doesn't give you any benefits whatsoever, it just gets you injured. So again, I would, because with this you're going to use a lot of weight eventually, depending on how strong you are now, I would go to the similar position we just did with a rack deadlift, hold on to the bar, lift the bar to there, and then from there all you're doing is coming straight up, straight down, straight up, straight down, straight up, straight down, keeping the bar as close to your body as you can. Now when you're using a lot of weight with the barbell, it's going to, because the bar's in front of your body slightly, it's going to pull you forward, so you need to stabilise. So you need to be virtually upright or slightly further back than upright, only slightly. So you're coming up, down, up, down. Now, as I say, that works the trapezius muscle there, which is a great big chunk of your back. I'm going to show you the dumbbell one now because I think this is easier to do and less chance of injury. So I'll just grab a couple of dumbbells and I'll show you. So now we're going to do the dumbbell shrug. Now the difference with this is you're holding the dumbbells to the side, so there's no chance of it pulling you forward. I've only used 20 kilo each side plus the bar, which is 20, so it's 60 kilo. If I get up to sort of 120, 140 kilo, when you're shrugging, you feel the bar pulling you that way. So you've got to really stabilise your core. Because if that starts to pull you and you round your back, you're going to get injured. So what this is better for is if you pick these up, like so, again you're deadlifting them, so make sure your back's tucked in. These are at the side, so it's like a counterbalance. It doesn't pull you forward and it doesn't pull you back. So from there, same movements, you're coming up, down. And what you try and do with these is you try and bring your shoulders up to your ears. So it's straight up, straight down. As I've said in previous training videos, everything is stretch and squeeze. So when you come down, you're stretching. When you come up, you're squeezing. So you try and hold the squeeze for a split second at the top, then lower. So it's squeeze, stretch, squeeze, stretch, squeeze, stretch. Now also with these, you're going to find that you probably can't use as much weight with these as you can with the barbell. So what you're best doing over time is alternating them. The stronger you get, once you get so strong that you can't deadlift the dumbbells and balance them properly, then you start to use the barbells more, which you can get more weight on. So I hope that bit helps. We're going to move on next to doing the lats, and we're going to do lat pull downs, variations of pull-ups, and one or two other bits and pieces that I've come across over the years. So that's the next one.